All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome aboard to the Morning Note. My name is Carlos Garcia. I'm the founder and CEO of Gar Capital. It is Thursday, September 26, 2024. Glad to be with you on this Thursday. Got a lot to go over. A lot of stuff happened overnight. You could tell with futures, NASDAQ is breaking out. What's in front of you is the NASDAQ futures. And we're going to talk about that here in a second. Before we begin, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're on Instagram, make sure to give us a like and a follow. Appreciate the support as always. Let's get started. Dow futures up 193 points. NASDAQ up 1.61%, 325 points. The S&P 500 futures are up 0.83%, 2245 for Russell futures up 1.22%. We caught IWM puts yesterday, so great job on the team to catch that one. Nick, great eye. 10-year Treasury yields 3.798. Regarding the IWM puts, we took them, so thankfully. Dollar index up 0.65% at 100.87. So even with the dollar being higher, stocks going higher says a lot, that's for sure. The VIX down 1.62% this morning at 1516. It is 8:58 this morning. Class begins at 9 usually. I'm kidding. It's not a class. But I'm doing a little early because Powell speaks today at 9:20. So I kind of want to wrap this one up pretty quickly. Didn't do a podcast these past 3 days. Again, there was not much to talk about. Now we got tons to talk about. So make sure to subscribe to the podcast. I'm going to give a little more details on what happened overnight tonight and what's going to happen today, or what will happen today. We'll go over the breakout levels. We'll talk a little bit about China and their stimmy. We'll talk about the data that just came in as well. We'll go in a little more deep dive into it and kind of talk about the next move. All right. So make sure to keep it locked for the podcast. There'll be more details on the action on that today. Crude oil is down 2.34%. The Saudi Arabians are saying that they're getting away from that $100 a barrel target to sell crude oil. So they're going to start pumping more. That means prices are going down. Even the hurricane in the Gulf of Mexico is not affecting crude oil positively. We even had a crude draw on Wednesday, but commodities, even with the dollar falling and falling, the commodity of crude oil and gasoline just can't get out of its own way. On the other side of this, gold, 2702, new all-time highs. Silver futures up 2.24%. I think that is pretty good to see, even with the dollar being higher as well. Copper futures up 2.61% at $4.60. We've talked about copper many times, about how that's important to infrastructure and construction. That's kind of a leading indicator of manufacturing. So good to see that going higher. Higher prices means higher demand. Euro dollar up 20 pips, 61 pips up for the Aussie dollar. RBA, the Central Bank of Australia, there were some speakers yesterday. Switzerland cut their interest rates 25 basis points last night. Ethereum is up 2%. 2.37%, 26.32, and Bitcoin is up 2%. And pound dollar 61 pips as well this morning. All right, so let's keep an eye here focused on NASDAQ futures. 20,000, you can see with the white arrows. I thought that would be a level of resistance that we would reject. Boy, I was wrong. I got stampeded by the bulls, which is fine because we didn't do anything really to the short side at that period in time. We've just been staying bullish, staying with calls, and oh yeah, it's been a little easier. That's for sure. It's nice when you get some expansionary monetary policy. When it's restrictive, things get a little difficult. If you're someone who sells real estate, if you're someone who sells big ticket items, it's easier to sell things when money's cheaper. But unfortunately, there is a side effect. It's called inflation. Over time, we will have inflation, and just prepare for that. Nothing comes easy either. So 20,519 overnight. We had headline regarding China doing some stimulus for some banks and giving out some money to those who need it. That boosted up China stocks. We talked about FXI and BABA yesterday. We talked about how happy we were we didn't get in. Well, it just bounced. So those $100 calls, if you were looking at this video or looking at our Discord server, I talked about that unusual options activity. Now, personally, I did not trade that, but if you did, great. Let's see if I can find that set up. Here you go. See, this is why we came back down yesterday. But you could see FXI. I was talking about that. That was on the 24th. around 1:36 p.m. and also Alibaba as well. Looking at the 100 strike calls, but FXI is a bit juiced. So technically we were right because the next day we fell. But the Chinese government said, nope, we're just going to add more money. So if you did catch BABA or you still have FXI or have BABA, either way, congratulations. I would take money and take profit at that point. But we'll see how the rest of the day goes because, well, anything can change as we saw with BABA and FXI just yesterday morning. A couple of news items: GDP 3% versus 2.9%. Jobless claims 218,000, lowest since mid-May, and that beats expectations. U.S. durable goods orders 0.0% versus 9.9% previous. Estimated was negative 2.8% on the durable goods orders. Durable goods orders was the best since May of 2020. So some really good news out there, actually. Core PCE prices met expectations as well. So pretty much check mark across the board, and that's why we're getting the price action that we're getting. So in terms of Nasdaq, what is your next levels to look? 600, 597 to 600, all-time highs at 20,983. It's 519 currently. Yes, you are not too late in the sense we are just getting started in this bull run. The only thing that's overhanging over everything, at least you can't tell right now, is really the election because that can impact business, regulatory, and uh, tax situations for different people. So obviously, everyone is waiting for that election, and once we get that election through, November is going to get easier, and December will get easier. Guys, you can go back to any period in time where we've had lower rates. Things just stabilize and speculation flourishes. And guess what we do every day? Well, we speculate. That's the deal. Let's go ahead and get to the Q&A section and see what's on the mind of our viewers. Good morning. Good morning. HTHIY. I don't know what that means, but good morning. Good morning, Carlos. Have a great day. Oh, thank you. How do you see MSTR chart? Got the 180 calls for October 18th. All right, let's take a look at it. The 180 calls. Yeah, I see what you're targeting. It's at 156 now. Above 160 would be great. It seems very far out, though. I would have waited for 180 to break and go for the 200s personally. If you're going to use some kind of level of a stop, I guess you're going to have to use right around 150 as your stop. But that's going to be a tough one. I hope it works because if Bitcoin goes higher, MSTR will too. Levels for SoFi. All right, let's take a look at it. Downward channel, as we can see. I still have $9.19 for a break, and we have a slight gap to fill at 951, or we can target the $10 level, but there's nothing yet on that. Some of our members, let's go ahead and go over the trades that we have open. DraftKings calls, we got into those. It's trading at 41.88. Yes, this is what we're going for. 43.34, that gets us back up to this up channel. We have until December on these, which are nice. So looking good. We were at 41.10 yesterday. We're gaining about 70 cents. We should be able to snag this if we can get around 42. Well, we have the 43 calls, but maybe around 42.70, 42.50. It's only because of the time, the expiry. If we had it for like this Friday, yeah, we would have banked. But again, DraftKings looking great team before anyone asks on it. Like to answer the questions before they're asked. DraftKings, and then we also had Google. Now, Google hit 30%, and then it pulled back immediately. That happens more times than you know. So that's kind of a pain. And I can understand really the concern on it. I got a lot of DMs and a lot of questions regarding Google calls, but we're looking great now. We got the level that we wanted, 165, I think, or so. 164.80 was what I was looking for. But 165 breaks the highs really of the week. And that's what we wanted. So really the next target is right around 166. That's where we rejected last Friday. I think we recapture that. The only thing now we're worried about is really Powell. So Google calls are going to be okay. DraftKings calls are going to be fine. That'll extend our streak, I believe, to 11. So, man, we're going for it. I think we have, 9 now? Yeah, 9. So if we get those two, team, we'll be at 11 in a row. It's been a couple of months since we had double digits. It's great to be back once we get there. Let's not count our ducks in a row yet. So that's Google. Let's take a look at Apple. Now, Apple did move higher because of the market in general. Let's see here. Yep, looking at this here. This is on the 1 hour. So you're gonna break out here, wedge breakout. You had the same thing here, but then it pulled back. The only issue with Apple, it is underperforming, and it's possibly because of this one, two, three triple top. But see this wedge here? If this breakout holds, let's say 230 breaks above, then yeah, this is gonna have a little more juice to 235. But again, we'll keep an eye on Apple as we go along. Good morning, Carlos. I have the 573 calls on SPY expiring today. Filled yesterday at swing low. Do you think we push higher this AM or should I just close at the open? That's going to be dependent on Jerome Powell. He speaks at 9:20 pre-market. I know. How lucky are we? So depending on what he says, I mean, you could get a soar job, to be honest with you. So um, let's take a look at SPY together. You have the witch, 573. Yeah, you're in the money, man. As long as you stay above 573, I would use that as your stop. So put an alert at 573 so you'll know when to close. If it's an option, I mean, you have to do it by contract price. And I don't know where the contract price is going to open or where you fill that. So 573, put an alert on your phone or your computer, 573.10. And if it tags it, you just get out. I mean, if you want to risk that, but you can risk for more upside, possibly get to 577 or so. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, you're at all time highs. It's as high as the imagination will take you. 572 was it. So great trade there. Nice bounce. So let's hope you get it, man. Let's take a look at SMH, Semiconductor ETF. Yes, Micron reported earnings yesterday, had great guidance. That boosts SMH higher. We traded NVIDIA yesterday. We caught that with the team. Well done. The only concern I have is this possible head and shoulders forming on the daily. So call me paranoid, but SMH could roll over as well. For SMH, let's do this. We'll see if we break this right shoulder right around 254.12. If we can get there, we got up until 270, what is it, 269, which is that daily gap to fill. So it is an upward trend, obviously, but 1, 2, 3, again, possible head and shoulders. I think 254.13. Right now we're at 255.59. That might negate it. So we'll see if that pulls back. And if it doesn't and it stays above 255, then you have a gap to fill here at 269, 270. Check what the volume's at that point in terms of options. But yeah, it's already above their pre-market. Hello. What else we got? Apple puts closed earlier. Hang on. Yeah, I do have some Apple puts. I'm going to hold it. Again, we still have Powell at 920. Kind of a hedge, I guess. We were up 20%, but then this China stimmy and the market moving higher, rate cuts, expansionary policy. Yeah, not easy shorting. We shorted at IWM yesterday and we caught it. But Apple so far, not so much. Let's see. Morning. No, hey, you're welcome. You're welcome. Glad to do it. All right. So we're going to wrap it up here. Let's go over what we did overnight. We went ahead and did, look at this, 2310. That was on NASDAQ futures. We're at 20,534 currently. Great job. We hit TP2. The only problem was that we weren't bullish enough. Okay, that happens, but it was a great trade. If you caught TP2, that was 90 points. TP1 was for 40. So well done. Could stop that for 50 points. That's how you start overnight. The only thing is that was late night. All of this move really happened right around, I think it was around midnight and then 2 in the morning. So if you caught it, great. That's great to see. But futures gives everyone a little bit of more control. And then yesterday we closed NVIDIA calls, like I said, and IW puts. Again, we just want to get 2 more, and then we'll be well. 1 more gives us double digits, but definitely want to get out of DraftKings and Google as soon as possible. The goal is to make money. That's it. And these are not investments; these are just trades. So we'll see how the rest of the day goes, and we'll keep an eye on what Paulito has to say. So with that being said, have a great rest of your morning, and I will catch you guys for the podcast. We'll go into a little more detail on some of these headlines that came out, and we'll go over the market action for today. All right, team? I'll see you there on Spotify and Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcast. Search GAR Capital. Thanks again for the support. We will catch you then. Cheers.